shifting gears, he was just there a few months ago under bombardment. They've said Muammar Gaddafi is dead. He did promise to stay and fight. With the bin Laden thing, we know that was fake because of the evidence. With this, I don't know. Again, Al-Qaeda has been given all these surface-to-air missiles now, so we're told we have to have domestic checkpoints on highways, as I told you they would do, to stop the Al-Qaeda missiles that were given to Al-Qaeda that's been given Libya. So to break this down, joining us via video Skype is Webster Griffin Tarpley, historian and also economist. Webster, what do you make of this?
Hi, Alex. Well, certainly it's a horrifying spectacle, whatever the reality is, right, to see all of this loading and disgusting celebration about the alleged death of Gaddafi. Now, let's stress, this is alleged, and it's coming from sources that are notoriously unreliable. That is to say, the Transitional National Council, the people that NATO has appointed as the puppet rulers of the country. There are now two stories that seem to be competing. I think the basic reality is there was some kind of a motorcade of Gaddafi forces of some kind that was bombed by NATO, because that is the operative arm of what's going on, in the area of Sirte, where after 2 months since the NATO invasion of Tripoli, they were closing this pocket at the inside of Sirte, and certain Gaddafi forces were apparently attempting to get out. So there's a story that this person's convoy was bombed by NATO aircraft. And then there's an embroidered story, which seems to borrow from the Saddam Hussein, which is that Gaddafi had taken refuge in a drainage pipe underground. Now, I stress again, it's all alleged by some of the biggest. Yeah, that's done to not make him look like a guy dying on the battlefield, but hiding as a rat. I mean, that's classic psychological warfare. He's called them, deservedly, they have been called rats and vermin all around the world, and they are. So they want to be able to apply that to him, that he's a sewer rat and so forth. You have to remember, somebody like Gaddafi, he's not called the Desert Fox for nothing. And somebody like this, I think, is likely to have doubles, right? The so-called doppelganger. So if you have doubles, maybe if you're going to take a position in Sirte, you must have a double or two with you. So the question is now, at the moment where the siege comes to an end, where the siege can't be maintained because of NATO bombing, then did these rebels kill a double, or did they kill Gaddafi? Now, the other question is, we can see on Al Jazeera and Agence France Presse, they have films of Gaddafi being captured alive, apparently wounded or alive. Again, an individual purporting, or they claim is Gaddafi, captured alive. This person is then loaded into what looks like a pickup truck, or they call it an ambulance, I don't know, being obviously harassed by these terrorist Al-Qaeda goons. And then later on, they show you pictures of the same person allegedly dead. So a mass of contradictions. Even Hillary Clinton, who was, of course, eager to gloat when she was told about this, said, well, of course, we've heard fantastic stories from these people before. In
fact, we heard he was killed inside of his compound a few months ago, and we heard he ran to Venezuela in all of this. You know, also, we know the rebels have been losing quite a bit, so this could be a propaganda coup, or he could have been killed in some other African country when the special forces went down to Uganda last week. I mean, the truth is, when we've been lied to by a group over and over again, we can't believe a word they say, so we just don't know.
Precisely. There is now this air of mystery. I believe Obama wanted to hang back and gloat last, because we've had Sarkozy gloating.
By the way, he's speaking right now.
Yes, Obama's on right now, but he waited because everybody else has now gone first. Ban Ki-moon went first. Madame Ashton of the European Union, Haig, the foreign secretary, Sarkozy, of course, trying to get out there in front. Now, Obama comes last, which is also his stealth profile in this entire thing. So let us just bracket this now. Let's assume...
Stay there. I want to get your analysis straight ahead. Webster Griffin Tarpley's our guest, tarpley.net. We're Infowars.com. Stay with us. Okay, so Obama just finished speaking a few minutes ago, El Presidente, and maybe he's a Gaddafi double. In fact, can you pull up that Gene Simmons photo right next to Gaddafi? I mean, he does have a lot of doubles. Gene Simmons has been rumored to actually be Gaddafi. There's even a better one than that, where he looks just like Gaddafi. We're showing it to Prison Planet TV viewers. But By the way, there's a story I want to get into. It's up at thedrudgereport.com on the bottom of the left-hand side. It's our article. It says, Egypt's top Facebook revolutionary now advising. So the State Department has their guy advising Occupy Wall Street. I want to get into that color revolution as well and where you see that going. But finishing up...
Go Nim.
Yes, but finishing up with the Gaddafi. Go ahead.
Look, let's assume for the moment that these reports are true. We don't know. One question is then, what's with the succession? Some of these reports say another son of Gaddafi, Motassin, has been either killed or captured. Then there's Saif. He's principally the political heir to Gaddafi, the father. So Saif al-Islam, what's with him? They have stories now. His motorcade is surrounded and he's going to be captured. Who knows, right? Maybe that's him. Maybe that's a double for him. There's also then Khamis. Khamis, reported dead by some, asserted to be alive by others. Certainly alive is Aisha, the daughter. She's, I believe, in Algiers. So a lot of this goes on. There's also Musa Ibrahim, the very courageous and capable spokesperson for the Gaddafi regime, and he is also continuing to operate. And some messages may come through Syria. Watch that RAI channel in Syria. But now, assuming Gaddafi is out of the picture, what happens? Well, the obvious thing is this was the only thing that kept this rebel coalition together. And the idea is this. Inside the rebel coalition, you have two main groups. One are the Gaddafi renegades and the Gaddafi retreads, people who were ministers who then betrayed Gaddafi. So this would be Jalil, who is the head of state. He's the head of the council, and Jibril, who's the head of government, Hillary Clinton's boyfriend. Now, Jibril has already said that he will quit when the war ends. And from the other side, you've got the Al-Qaeda people, right? The actual terrorists, the killers, the people who have been fighting in
and from what I'm reading, they're the dominant group, and now they're saying they've got thousands of shoulder-launched surface-to-air missiles, so we've got to all give our rights up because the freedom fighters have missiles.
So the idea is you've got the Gaddafi renegades and the Gaddafi retreads on the one hand, and that's the public international face of the new regime, if that's what it is. And on the other side, you've got the killers, the bloody-handed Al-Qaeda veterans who have been killing U.S. forces and carrying out acts of terrorism, according to anybody's definition. And at the top of that, we seem to have this guy, Belhaj Hassadi, that I had identified back in March. And Hassadi he's done things like telling Jibril and Jalil, you guys get out. Or he barges into meetings and says, remember, you can't decide anything without me. I'm Belhaj Hassadi, and I'm the top dog here in Tripoli. So,
well, it's also reported that Qatar, that their general is backing the Al-Qaeda people.
Yeah, they have to choose sides, and I guess maybe they want to be on the winning side.
No, but they say at these meetings, the Al-Qaeda guys have the general behind them, and literally they say, hey, we've got the weapons.
Sure. So this looks like a civil war brewing. Now, the Gaddafi side is the third side in the civil war, and that, I believe, is the South, right? The black guys in Fezzan and the southern part. Remember, a couple of days ago, NATO actually made a statement saying to African countries, hey, you guys in Mali and in Chad and in Burkina Faso or any place else, Sudan, don't you dare give asylum to the Gaddafi clan because we're coming after them, right? And we're NATO and we're in your face. So that has something, as you're pointing out before, something to do with this Uganda story, right? That Obama is now up to 7 wars, right? We've got Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, and Uganda, which then becomes 3 more, right?
Yeah, but wait, stop right there. There's forces in Colombia. There's now U.S. forces, we've confirmed, inside Mexico. 40,000 dead the last 3 years, bigger than Vietnam per year per capita. I mean, this is just full global invasion.
What's your count? A dozen, maybe. We may be up to a dozen wars, maybe 15, right? With Obama, the sky's the limit.
Does he get more peace prizes, though, if he hits 100?
I think they're going to institute a Nobel Prize for hypocrisy and give it to him. So I think this is, at the same time, this is a horrible perspective for the people of Libya. Remember, what's going to happen now is economic liberalization. They're going to get the joys of the free market. Oh, boy. They're going to get everything privatized that was not privatized. And the oil will now be looted by
that doesn't mean
companies.
Actually privatize it. It means hand it over to the bankers, stay there. I want to finish up on the economy. And I want to look at what's happening in Europe and tie it into the U.S. because they're announcing a long, steep drop for American standard of living. CNBC, globalism means you're poor, but you pay more taxes to the central bankers, and they're banning cash in Louisiana. You can't make this up. Stay with us. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.